Fox News Alert, you are looking live at the nanotech complex at the State University in Albany, New York. That is where President Obama is unveiling a to-do list for Congress on creating jobs and easing the mortgage crisis. If you'd like to take a listen to those remarks, we are streaming them live right now on foxnews.com. Well, a pair of new reports just out looking into America's ever-expanding waistlines. According to one study funded by the Centers for Disease Control, more than a third of American adults are considered obese today, and that number is expected to go up to 42% by 2030. But a massive new report out today from the powerful Institute of Medicine panel says you cannot blame it all on a lack of individual willpower. In fact, quite the contrary. They argue our healthy options are way too limited. So the government potentially needs to step in and help in the form of new taxes and regulations, and even potentially by offering incentives to build more sidewalks so we can walk more. Is more government really the answer here? Joining me now, Leslie Marshall, a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Lars Larson, a syndicated radio host with Compass Media Networks as well. You know, I have to start by saying, Leslie, I would love to mock this report just in good fun, because it's not your fault. It's the government's fault for not building more sidewalks. But they talk about the unavailability of healthy food in so many places, and just anecdotally, haven't we all seen that? I mean, you go into, one of those stores, you're just going to grab a sandwich. That's all there is. Where are the fruits? Where are the vegetables? You have to work very hard in this country to find healthy options sometimes.
Oh, no question. I have said, and I know I'm going to get people angry, but sorry. When I travel to Europe, I can always spot an American. They're fat, they're dressed poorly, and they're drinking Coca-Cola. Sorry, but this is definitely part of our environment. We drink soda. That is a lot of sugar. Why is it in America our Big Mac is 3 times the calories than in Copenhagen, Denmark? It's not just portion size. And by the way, it's not just high fructose corn syrup. It really is about our lack of choices. And why is it that people in France eat cheese and bread, and in Italy they eat pasta till the cows come home? They're healthier and they're thinner. They have those sidewalks and parks and trails to walk and to be healthy, and they have those healthier food options. They drink water, not soda. And this is something I do believe that perhaps if the government could do a better job, then bring them in, because we're doing a very poor job.
Lars, they do point out in this report, look, yes, we need to eat less and move more, but they say when you see an increase in obesity that's so dramatic over the past 30, 40 years, they say, what changed? People, their biological existence didn't change. The environment changed.
Well, Megyn, you can tell I came here to Washington, D.C. because I was hoping that Michelle Obama and the nanny staters could tell me how to lose weight. And I didn't realize that just writing more checks to government for taxes was going to help me lose weight. But I'm going to take issue with your premise. Your premise is that people walk into stores and don't find the things they want. I have news for you. In a market system, people sell what the customer buys. That's what stores are doing.
They're buying the wrong things.
Well, Well, you can say that, but do you want the government saying we're going to prescribe for you what you're allowed to eat? That famous question about, can we really tell Americans they have to eat broccoli? No. The government should not be telling people what to eat. Now, I don't think Americans mind some information to say, by the way, that latte you're drinking every day has so many calories in it. Be aware of it. But do you really want a government where it tries to force people to eat the right things? And do you really believe this absurd nonsense that the lack of sidewalks keeps people from walking? I'm overweight. If I need to walk, you don't need a sidewalk.
Can we dismiss it all, Leslie? Because according to this report, obesity is responsible for an additional $190 billion a year in health care costs, 1/5 of all health care spending. And taxpayers wind up subsidizing that to some extent.
Megyn, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I know Lars will truly listen to us now, the females here speaking, okay? Lars, we're talking money. We're talking cuts. We're talking saving money with health care. Maybe there wouldn't have been the need for the Affordable Care Act, which you love to call Obamacare,
Megyn,
if we could combat...
He calls it that now, too.
If we could combat obesity.
The president also refers to it as that.
But he does. And I have an answer for you. By the way, it is market-based. Leslie won't like it. But here's the answer. If you want to get people to lose weight, scrap Obamacare, let people buy from the private industry, and let the health insurance industry sell the way the car insurance industry does. If I go out and buy a red Corvette, they're going to charge me more. If I buy a sensible sedan, they charge me less. If my employer came to me tomorrow
Lars,
and said,
okay,
listen,
I see your
no,
point. I see your point. But let me shift you on to another point. One of the things they raise in this study is the children and how obese our children are getting. Now, don't you care? Now, a lot of our viewers, well-educated, think about nutrition, try to provide healthy options for their kids. Unfortunately, that is not true of millions of American parents who are funneling their kids high-fat, saturated fat, cholesterol-ridden choices day and night. And would it hurt to put a little pressure on the fast food industry and other industries to just make the majority of options out there healthy?
Megyn, a little pressure won't do it, and you and I both know that. If you look at this situation and say, if we just suggest to people better choices, if they currently enjoy eating fatty food, and we know that's why people like eating fatty food.
Well, we can't help this generation. It's the next generation we're working on.
But
go ahead,
even
Lars.
in the next generation, you're going to have to take draconian measures to basically specify to people. You want to have the Obama or whatever administration follows it hand out ration cards and say you are only allowed to feed your children so many calories or buy. That's not going to happen.
All right, I got to run, but it's an interesting debate. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is a big, big recommendation to a very powerful group, so we will see. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Megyn.
See you soon, panel.